fear the enemy, for they can only...
The only point of college at this point is just so you can get a degree to help with jobs. Most stuff you can find out on the internet. There is a... And I talked about this before. It's like people don't realize that you can learn things on the internet. People don't realize how much you can make just doing shit off the internet. Like, I just did this as a hobby on the side, and it turned into a full-time job where we're one sponsor, and this hasn't happened yet, but I've negotiated. And I've seen where basically you'll talk to a sponsor, you'll say, you know, the X amount of views, and they'll give you like, hey, if you get this amount of views, you can make this much money. And so you negotiate with them, and you realize if you're getting 1 million views on these videos consistently, you can get paid more than like $10,000 a video if it got like 1 million views, for example. And let's say you did that 4 times a month, okay? That's $40,000 in a month, which is some people's salary for a whole year. And so... if you're successful at this, I mean, you got to crunch the numbers and do the math. I'm not saying that everyone should be a YouTuber or something like that, but like there are plenty of things you can do online, or plenty of things that can start out. Let me say this instead: there's plenty of things that start out as hobbies that can turn into something big if you pursue them on the side and you're really good at them, and you make sure you still giving them enough love, but you don't like for YouTube. I was doing like one video every couple months. Until eventually one video blew up, and then I said, oh, okay, I'll give this more attention, and more attention, and more attention, until it worked out. And so you could do this with any hobby, whether that be singing, or even making your own business, or just building things, anything you want to apply this to. Everyone should always have side projects that they're working on, and just to see where they can go. And even if they don't go anywhere, it's just a good outlet. It's just a good thing to say that something to be proud of, a project that you are working on. Even if it's like painting models or hobbies and stuff, it's just something that you're doing. My parents, it's like the one thing that I get annoyed with is they get up and go to work, and they come home and watch TV for the rest of the night, and that's it. And that's their entire life every single day. And they blew all their money, and they bought a house they couldn't afford, and then they lost it. And they bought jacuzzis at that house that they didn't even take care of. They spent way too much money. They bought tons of cars and motorcycles and lived this lavish lifestyle they couldn't afford. And then everything came toppling down. Now they live in a little home, and they're really old, and they've got to work every single day because they had nothing else they were doing, and they kind of gave up. So it's just shit like that frustrates me. And if you're smart with your money, it's easy to retire young if you're smart with your money. That doesn't even mean like, well, don't buy a car and don't and sit there and live off of $2 a day. If you take the internet, this tool with infinite information on it, and you get the books and you take the classes and you do whatever, it's like, and you learn personal finances and investments and exactly what you need to do, and you plan out your life, and if you just plot everything out, you can tell exactly when you're gonna be able to retire and how much money you just have to do it. And most people just go on autopilot their whole life. It's annoying watching people go on autopilot and think things will just kind of work out, and they're only thinking one day in advance every single time. You got to be thinking years in advance. I don't have my whole life planned out 5 years from now, but I'm at least I can envision exactly what my life will be 8 months from now. I have a clear, now a couple of years it gets fuzzy, but I know exactly what it will look like, or at least what I want it to look like. You know? It's going on autopilot, man. That's the same reason that so many people go to college and they spend way too much money there, and they're fucking broke. Like, the whole, people joke about it. They're like, I'm a broke college student, you know me. It's like, no, you shouldn't laugh about that. Unless you know that you won't be broke. If you're viewing college as an investment, both in your education and money, if you know that you will get more out of it, if you're positive, then you should go. But if you don't know what you're going, and that's a mistake I made. Everyone says, you'll figure it out. Just go there for a couple of years. Everyone changes their major. No. That is like propaganda. That is the colleges saying, well, we want more money. So do we tell them, don't go to college and don't buy my education until you have it figured out. And then when you figure it out, you probably won't go to college. Or do we say, no, college is actually a place you come to figure it out, but you still pay. But you come here to figure it out. And so you have a bunch of kids who don't know what they're going to do, but they're told by even their parents, which is that it is like the worst lie that is ever. It's the biggest marketing scheme in like history, that they've even got the parents in on it, and the teachers and everyone who says, no, don't worry, you'll find out at college. It's like, no, you shouldn't do that. You should spend a year, if anything, not going to college, figuring it out and getting your life together and writing everything you need, writing everything down, trying everything you can, getting that YouTube channel up or starting to doing your singing career or whatever you want to do on the side and work and figure out what you want to do for your living. And you try that for a year. And if things work out, and you don't need college, but if you know exactly what you want to do, or that hobby that you were doing on the side has turned out to be a career after you've watered this thing for a whole year, and it turns out to be this huge tree living in your backyard, you're like, okay, this works. I don't need college then. And of course, that's not always going to happen, but the fact that it could, it's like you should always be trying these things. And just going to college and just throwing money at it, man, well-paying job. Like pure science degree, most of my life playing. I can't believe people. Yeah, Garrett, dude, if you could become a better programmer than the kids in college who are being held back by the amount of work they're given. They're told you only have to do this amount and you have to do it in this way. So if anything, they're spending those 4 years being held back while you're out getting the textbooks, learning the code, and you're setting at your own pace that's 5 times faster than everyone else, and you're self-educated. And when the employer goes, oh, what experience do you have? You're like, look at all this code I have. Look, I made this. I know 5 languages, whereas the guy coming out of college only knows 2 languages. I know how to present myself. I'm younger, and I'm ready to go. Like, this guy's still studying in college, and he can only go part-time because he's still going to college, maybe. It's like, you're going to get so far ahead of the game with things like that. You don't need college for that. And don't let anybody... Some of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life have been against everybody's opinion. And so, if you have the effort, if you've got the motivation to do it, man, don't listen to anybody. You can't. And it's only for you to know. If you're the type of person who you'll figure it out, and you'll get it done. And even if, like, throughout most of your life, maybe you're lazy in school, don't look at that. Don't look if you're lazy in school. Know what your potential. Know if you are so passionate about it that you're gonna be crazy about it, and you'll get it done, and you can be good at it. And if you know that, don't listen to what other people think because they don't know you. Fuck college if you know what you want to do, and you see a path where you don't need it. Now, that being said, let me just cover my ass because I this should already be implied, but for the people who are going to flip out at me, look, there are certain circumstances where you need college. My brother went to college for business, and now he's working at BlackRock, making $1 million a year easily. Like, he's already ready to retire, and he's not even 40 yet. So, or not even 30 yet. Sorry. He's 29. And he's pretty much ready to retire. So there are ways, if you utilize college properly, that you can get there. But there are also ways that are a little more harder, a little riskier, where you can get there faster. I think the ultimate thing is just being driven and not going on autopilot. That's the one thing I'd say, is just never go on autopilot, man. Whether it be while you're going to college or if deciding not to go on college. If you're going on autopilot, you're doing something wrong. You always got to be planning ahead. You have to.